Hello, and welcome to the Solutions Manual podcast, where we take life's greatest challenges and turn them into simple, practical solutions that you can actually use. I'm Sarah, and I'm fascinated by nutrition, well-being, and human performance.
And I'm Maciek, a physician and medical leader passionate about helping people unlock their potential. What unites us is a deep fascination with how the human brain works and how to train it.
Together, we will show you how you can rewrite your life story by retraining your brain.
Join us as we explore the intersection of science, the brain, leadership, and personal growth. Let's get started. Okay, so hello again.
SMS number
SMS, Solutions Manual Shorts. And today we will be doing or discussing perfectionism.
Oh, this is a good one.
Yes, I know quite a few.
I also know quite a few.
Okay, so I'll start with my example.
Yeah,
so I used to work with a gentleman. Let's call him a Daniel. Hopefully that's far enough from his name not to be recognizable. When I was still in clinical practice, and so I was a surgeon. Part of my work was restoring people's hearing, and I worked very closely with an audiologist. So Daniel was responsible for fitting people with hearing aids.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And whether this was post-implanting or for surgery or for other reasons, adults and children.
Okay.
And he was one of the most extreme perfectionists I've ever seen. He would spend, there was no time limit on how much time he would spend calibrating, fine-tuning, making sure that everything is programmed to perfection. He would repeat tests all the time, even if people could barely tell any difference.
Wow.
And that's in a lab, in a soundproof room, where it's almost like the difference would be impossible to tell in a real life. It was sometimes painful to watch.
Yeah.
Crowds in a waiting room, crowds. Everyone was frustrated. The staff were frustrated. The patients were frustrated. On the other hand, when he already got something fitted,
right,
it was really, really good.
Right.
And to be completely honest, if I could have something fitted by him, I probably would. I just would never be able to tolerate the amount of time it took to get there in the first place. And he was constantly missing deadlines, constantly being reprimanded by others, causing ginormous stress in the workplace, and never satisfied or never happy with anything he has done, even though it was already way above what anyone would normally expect.
Wow.
And one day, essentially what happened, he completely missed delivery on one of the research grant deadlines, where it costed him his job, and I've never seen him again.
Whoa, that's extreme.
This is I think extreme example of how trying to be perfect essentially derailed his whole career in the department where I worked. So what's your example?
Well, I can think of many people, but
Okay.
more on a broad scale. This is more, the people that come to mind, and myself included. Start writing something, and you write 2 words, and then you delete, and you start over, and you just kind of get to the point where if you don't churn out the perfect or craft the most perfect email or text message or communication, then the whole thing gets scrapped, and then you do something else.
Okay. Yeah, so it's interesting because we know how it works and why this happens in people. And it's actually nothing about delivering anything of quality. That's not what's the underlying reason. We know that similarly to, as we discussed in the previous episode of people pleasing, we know that perfectionism is also one of the fear-driven behaviors.
Yes.
Yes. So you would rather do nothing or deliver nothing than
just do a little bit. Whereas Daniel is obsessed with getting every single detail. Like he's already in it, right? He had already.
Yes. Well, yeah, but probably afraid of either failing or being average or whatever that is that he prevents himself. He calls it high standards, but it's not high standards. It's fear.
Yeah. Have you ever had someone in an interview, when those questions, what's your biggest strength and what's your biggest weakness?
I never asked that question in an interview.
I know you haven't, but I'm sure you've had to suffer through interviews like that.
I've been asked that question about what is my biggest weakness, and I've answered strawberries.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't get the job.
Okay. That's too bad. Well, I'm just curious how often people respond, "Oh, I'm a perfectionist." Sometimes.
Oh, as if it was something good.
As if it. Well, I've been in many interviews, and I would say half of the people answer perfectionism as their greatest strength.
Yeah, I never hired any of those.
I'm sure you haven't. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a reason. Like I recognize this. It's not discipline. It's not quality. Right. It's disguised fear, and it's a avoidance driven by shame conditioning. That's essentially what perfectionism is, and it's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
At its core, yes.
Right. Which is maybe why the other half of the people respond, "Oh, what's your biggest weakness? I'm a perfectionist."
Yes.
Which is very interesting upon reflection.
Yes, so we know this is typically a behavior or a script acquired in childhood, or typically in an environment, whether it's at home or at school, where people's or someone's self-worth is dependent on their achievement.
Yes.
Or flawlessness in a way.
Right.
And schools, unfortunately, reinforce this.
Oh, yeah.
And create this and then reinforce further by encouraging competitiveness, whether this is in sports or in academic situations, because your brain, a young brain, starts to goes into this loop where, okay, if I make a mistake, I'm going to get downgraded or I'm going to be criticized. That leads to shame. So I learned that it's better to avoid doing anything because that way I don't fail.
Right.
I've never done anything, therefore I've never made a mistake, therefore I've been never criticized, therefore I can never be shamed in group or in private, or nobody's ever going to be disappointed.
Right.
So this is avoidance driven by fear. And again, the mechanism is described really well. So
how to help a perfectionist?
What do we do about this? Yes. If you're a perfectionist, or if you know a perfectionist, what can be done about this?
Yeah. Well, the interventions, like
my favorite tool.
You have to show your brain essentially the opposite.
Yes, you need to give your brain a proof.
Yeah.
That there is no
proof that, number one, like you can break it, and two, that there is no consequence of whatever you think well, let's just give the example for this. So if a perfectionist was to be deliberately imperfect,
yes,
probably the thought of that to someone is just uncomfortable enough. But the point is to show the brain that when you are deliberately imperfect, there's really nothing that happens as a result of it. If we go back to the email, right, that you write a sentence and delete and then do it again, and then it never gets sent, or it gets sent hours later. Like, just write a sentence, add a typo, right? You can be deliberately imperfect in these tiny ways to force yourself through, or force your brain through that practice.
And collect evidence that if there's a typo or nothing bad really happens.
The only thing that happens is that you ruminate about it, but that's a choice. If you choose to fixate on that, then just that's a different loop.
Yes, but it's important. Yeah, so we're trying to abuse something that is called the prediction error. So we're forcing a mismatch between what your brain anticipates will happen and what actually happens, by deliberately practicing not delivering up to your imagined or claimed highest standard.
Yes.
Yes. And so for example, for the Daniel that I've mentioned, what it could look like when he was fitting the hearing aids is do it the first time, and if it works, it's good enough, even if it's not what you think a perfect should be.
Yeah.
And then see what happens.
Yeah.
Are you going to get more complaints from this? How many people are going to be satisfied? And so on. So you start collecting evidence, and this needs to be done in writing.
Yes.
Yes, it needs to be documented.
Yes.
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 Yes, it's a similar mechanism to that they use in exposure therapy by the Festinger's exposure therapy, where your brain cannot ignore repeated evidence to the contrary of what the assumption is made, because brains are essentially prediction machines.
Yeah.
And once this prediction repeatedly fails to show to achieve the outcomes, it needs to update the model. So you're forcing change simply by giving yourself evidence that when you're deliberately imperfect, nothing bad happens.
Right. The
That's
world
Yeah.
still spins.
Yes.
And probably you free up tons more time to actually do
Yes.
meaningful and more impactful work.
Yes, that's it. And the side effect of this is confidence, because you learn that confidence is not about being flawless.
No.
It's about being able to act despite imperfections.
Yep.
Yeah.
And is there really such a thing as perfect anyway?
Well, that's another thing. That's another model. But for a perfectionist, they think there is a perfect way to write an email, a best way to design something, the only way to fit in the hearing aid. But it's just in their head.
Exactly.
It's just an imagination, because what it is perfect or ideal to you might not necessarily be to someone else. So it's not about how it's being perceived by that person. It's about what can you do to get yourself to act, because that's where life happens.
That's right.
Yeah. How long do we estimate it would take to retrain your brain like this? For the people we worked with, it's not that long, right? It's
2
typically
weeks, maybe?
2 weeks to start seeing a difference.
Yeah.
2-3 months for most of that to be gone.
mostly?
And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I think it's a very quick fix to a very common problem.
Absolutely.
And we will encourage everyone who believes is a perfectionism and it stops them from achieving to try to be deliberately imperfect. Great.
Thank you so much for watching or listening to the Solutions Manual podcast. Please like, comment, send us a message, or share with your favorite brain.